Hey BYD,
Hi there.
rotate the screen.
Okay, rotating the screen.
And that does make this drive more like an SUV opposed to a dual cab ute. Yes, there are some limitations when it comes to wheel articulation for heavy duty off-road driving. This is the BYD Shark 6 and it comes with loads of tech, features, a plug-in hybrid powertrain, and it's also affordable from $60,000 drive away. It does tick a lot of boxes to a majority of ute buyers, and I'm going to guide you through all there is to know about the Shark 6, and there is a lot to cover, so don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the bell, and let's get straight into the review. First, what is there to know before walking into a showroom? This is the type of vehicle that competes with the Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid and the GWM Canon Alpha plug-in hybrid. And I've also driven both those two rivals, and you can see those videos down below. And in total, you have one model of the Shark 6 with a selection of 5 different colours. And in terms of ownership, warranty, servicing, running costs, on your screen is a breakdown on everything you need to know. And a big thank you to Highland BYD for lending me their demonstrator, and they have just opened in Vale, New South Wales, and I've shared their details in the description below. Right, let's talk about the styling. The external colour of this Shark 6 is finished off in deep sea blue, and there are also some Shark design details like on the rear door, and you of course have a Shark fin antenna, but in terms of functional design details, automatic LED headlights with an auto high beam. You do also have an LED light bar, and down the bottom, LED fog lights within the black plastic cladding, silver trim, 2 recovery points, and a fin steel factory underbody plate. And if we take a look at the side view, you get a set of 18-inch wheels with a 2 colour scheme combination, highway terrain tyres. There's also body cladding, plastic side steps, roof rails on the top section, electric power folding mirrors, and privacy glass at the back. And if we take a look at the rear, you have a set of LED tail lights which form into an LED light bar like what you see on the front section, and this looks pretty familiar. You have BYD engraved into the tailgate like the Hilux badging on a Toyota, and down the bottom here, black badging, a plastic step-up bar with LED lighting, 2 recovery points, your towing setup, and looking underneath, a full-sized spare wheel. And that is a much better placement compared to what you'll find in a GWM Canon Alpha PHEV, which not only looks funny, but it also impairs practicality. Okay, let's now talk about the interior. Inside, compared to a Ranger or even a Hilux, it definitely does feel high-tech, modern, and also a little bit quirky as well. You have this rotating screen, and it also feels pretty solid as well. Up the top here, soft and squidgy, soft where you rest your elbow, some plastic down below, and lower sections as well. But up the top here, nice and soft on the center console and here as well. You also get a big, chunky steering wheel, and that offers both manual tilt and reach adjustment. The seats do feel supportive, and they are finished off in a synthetic leather upholstery with seat heating and ventilation, electronic adjustment for the front, and a power lumbar support for the driver, and along with dual zone climate control within the infotainment system. And this car does feature one of the best voice controls I've ever experienced on any car, even better than a Mercedes. Hey BYD.
Yes?
Roll down the windows.
All right.
Hey BYD.
Hi there.
Rotate the screen.
Okay, rotating the screen.
This infotainment system does take a bit of time getting used to, but once you do master it, it is pretty straightforward. You've got your icons down here. You can customize the menu structure, and you can also go into a split screen. And there's also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are both in a widescreen format. MIDI systems also entail AM, FM, DAB, Spotify, Amazon Music, Bluetooth USB, and there's also karaoke in the car as well, and a 12 speaker sound system, which does sound pretty decent. And diving within the infotainment, inbuilt satellite navigation with Google Mapping. The Shark 6 is also connected, and you can download an app onto your phone to access the car's functions. And this here takes you into the car controls. You can swipe around a 3D view of your car, change the colour, open and close the windows. And there's also an energy manager to see what is happening with your drivetrain, and you can also make changes, like for example, customise the regen braking, have a look at charging and discharging, your energy consumption. And if I push this button here, this will take you into the 360 camera, which does look pretty impressive, and there are many different angles and views to pick from. You can also go into a 3D view. That looks pretty cool. And there are also front and rear parking sensors and a rear cross traffic alert, and auto dimming rear vision mirror, autonomous emergency braking, a safe exit warning assist, which will alert you if an oncoming car is coming your way, blind spot monitoring, and 2 blind spot cameras within the infotainment system, adaptive cruise control that keeps you within distance between yourself and the vehicle in front. You have a lane departure warning and a lane keeping assistant, traffic sign recognition, a driver monitoring system, and this here is a 10.25-inch screen, and you can configure the information menus. There is also a head-up display over the windscreen showing you a traffic sign, speed, mapping and assistance. And down here there are 2 controls, one for the on-road driving modes between Eco, Normal and Sport. This button here activates the hill descent control, and there are also a few off-road driving modes as well, and depending on which one you choose, that is going to set the car up for that specific terrain. What about storage? The glove box is pretty small, but you do have a little section up here, a 50-watt wireless phone charging pad, 2 small cup holders over here, decent centre storage with a 12-volt socket, USB-C and A port, decent door bin storage which can also hold a big water bottle, a sunglasses holder up the top here with mirrors lighting behind the sun visors. Climbing in and out is also pretty easy. There's also a remote key, keyless entry, walk up and walk away door locking and unlocking, and push button ignition. Here in the back with this seat set in my position, knee room, toe room, head room is pretty good, and because there is no driveline, the floor is flat, and that means knee room, toe room, head room is also good in the middle. Looking around, you have a set of map pockets, air vents, a little bit of storage, an AC power socket, USB-C and A port, decent door bin storage which can also hold a big water bottle, grab handles over here, lighting, a flip down armrest with 2 small cup holders, and the 2 outboard seats are ISOFIX compatible, and behind me there are 2 top tether points. You can also fold down the back seat, and that is going to reveal a flat load section, the location for the spare jack, plus you can also lift up the bottom seat, but there is no storage, only access to the 12-volt battery and the inverter for the AC and DC charger. Let's now talk about the tub. There are a few ways to open up the tailgate. You can use a button on the key fob, a button on the center console, a button within the infotainment. There's a button here to press twice and that tailgate opens, and as you can see, it is light, which means it is easy to open and close. And yes, compared to a diesel-powered ute with around 900 kilograms to a tonne of payload, the Shark 6 is down at 790 kilograms. But if we take a look at the space, it is bigger compared to a Ranger. And because the Shark 6 was built from the ground up as a plug-in hybrid, there are no impairments from the battery, like what you see on the plug-in hybrid versions of the Canon Alpha and the Ranger PHEV. There is no roller shutter or tub liner as standard, but you do get a spray-in bed liner, which does feel pretty durable, tie-down hooks to keep items secure, LED lighting, and also vehicle to load. So over here, you have a set of 3 power points, which is powerful enough for appliances, coffee machines, and even power tools if you are out on a work site. Let's talk about what drives the BYD Shark 6. This here is a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine, and it makes by itself 135 kilowatts and 260 newton meters of torque. And this is all linked to a front and rear electric motor, bumping up the total outputs to 321 kilowatts and 650 newton meters of torque. The transmission is a single-speed reduction gear, and it also uses an all-wheel drive system, and 0 to 100 is in 5.7 seconds, making this quicker, comparing it to a Ford Ranger Raptor. Now, let's talk about the plug-in hybrid setup. Over on the passenger side, a fuel filler cap for the internal combustion engine, and over on the driver's side, your charging setup. 7 kilowatts of AC charging, which takes 2 hours to charge from 30 to 80%. And unlike most plug-in hybrids, the Shark 6 comes with 55 kilowatts of DC charging, making this ideal for a long distance journey. And what that means is you have access to more public charging stations, and it should fast charge within 25 minutes from 30 to 80%. And that 29.58 kilowatt hour LFP battery does give this car a claimed EV driving range of 100 kilometres. And you do also have the option to switch from EV, full electric driving, to HEV, petrol electric. And combined with the 1.5 litre engine, that is going to give you around 800 kilometres of combined driving range. And when the battery runs out, it'll automatically switch to operating as a conventional hybrid using the petrol engine. And this also has double wishbone at the front and rear, no leaf springs, and like I said in the intro, this can tow 2.5 tonnes, but it is a full tonne down compared to what you'll find in a traditional diesel-powered ute. And in terms of off-road driving, you can off-road in this. It does have the specific drive modes, but there are no locking diffs or the specific off-road suspension for wheel articulation. But in terms of on-road driving, it's meant to be efficient and refined. So let's get it out and see how it performs. Okay, driving impressions inside the Shark 6. Over the bonnet, there's decent forward visibility, good side vision, wing mirrors are a good size, and at the back, rear vision is also pretty good. And take a listen to the cabin. It is nice and silent, especially in EV mode and both hybrid mode. In terms of size, it feels more like a Kia Tasman, not as overwhelming like a Ram, but not as narrow compared to the Ford Ranger and Hilux. There is also an 11 metre turning circle radius, and the steering feel is nice and light at low speeds. Pretty good feedback as well, considering this car is heavy. You can also put it into sport to make it a bit more firm, but I still think the Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid does give you a bit more confidence, even though the plug-in hybrid version doesn't steer or drive as well compared to the diesel-powered version. What also makes the Shark 6 unique is the suspension setup. Most dual cab utes have leaf springs at the back, whereas the Shark 6 has not only a coil sprung multi-link suspension setup at the front, but at the back as well. Plus you've also got the 2 electric motors, and that does make this drive more like an SUV opposed to a dual cab ute. Yes, there are some limitations when it comes to wheel articulation for heavy duty off-road driving, and there is no low range gearbox or a diff lock. You've got a few drive modes for the off-road system, and I think that is going to be enough as a lifestyle vehicle, and I have seen videos of this going off-road on light off-roading tracks. But it is a bit strange because when you are on really fast or flat surfaces, it does jiggle around a little bit, and that is on really small bumps, but big bumps, it takes the impact a lot better. But for the most part, for driving around the city, it does feel very refined, and I think that is more of a benefit to a ute driver more than anyone else. You can also switch between EV and hybrid. I've got it in hybrid, and when you do have enough charge in the battery, when you put your foot down, it does move. Like I said, it does feel heavy, you can definitely tell, and in EV mode, it does feel a lot more responsive. The brake pedal does take a bit of time getting used to because it is a bit grabby. Again, I think that has a lot to do with the weight, because a lot of plug-in hybrids, they all feel pretty similar. I do like driving it in EV because It not only feels the most responsive, but that's where it really benefits in terms of fuel consumption, and the range does last. And then swapping into hybrid mode, the official figure from BYD is 2 litres per 100, and I got 8.5. And when you are in hybrid mode, the official figure from BYD is 2 litres per 100, and I didn't get close to that because I was driving around the countryside. You should average probably around 6 to 7 around the city. I got 8.5, which is still a lot better compared to what you'll experience in a diesel-powered ute, where you typically average between 9 to 11 litres per 100. But the rule is, with plug-in hybrids, you do need to charge up that battery, otherwise it will chew a little bit more fuel. So with driving impressions out of the way, let's finish off with a verdict. So, what is my conclusion on the BYD Shark 6? Well, comparing it to the GWM Canon Alpha plug-in hybrid and the Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid, this is the best pick between the three. And whilst it may not be as hardcore as some other diesel-powered utes, it still offers a great value proposition. But tell me, would you go for a BYD Shark 6, or would you spend a little bit more for a diesel-powered Ford Ranger, Hilux, D-Max? Let me know your opinion in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.